About 60 plays of scrimmage so far. We've got about 20 more, so we've gotten a lot of good work today. Quarterbacks I thought have played well. Defense is running, making some plays. Rennie Childs, it seemed like, had a good scrimmage up to this point. But I do like our pass protection, something that we really worked hard this spring to improve, and it looks like that we've made some great strides in that area. So it's been a great day. Obviously, Mr. Pickens came today, had a chance to speak to the team. It's good for our players to be able to listen to him. It's good to have him here, and that he took the time to come here and be with us before he flies back to Augusta to be at the Masters. So it's been a great day for us. Looking forward to finishing up, and Monday and Wednesday, really good heavy practices, and then spring game on Saturday.
What does it mean to you, particularly, to have Boone here, given the fact that you guys hadn't talked for quite a while? Just the meaning of that for you personally.
Well, for me, selfishly, it's big for us because I enjoy the conversation and relationship that he and I have and that we had at one time. And we went through a couple years where we didn't have communication, and it wasn't good for Oklahoma State, and it wasn't enjoyable for me. And so we've had a lot of conversations on the phone over the last few months, and then again today, and I don't see any reason why he and I can't build a relationship like it was years ago. And so it takes time. Things just don't happen overnight. There was a lot of talk about it, and that's why I really hadn't said anything, because all of a sudden if you just say, hey, everything's great, and you start hugging again, then people realize that it's not something that's true. And so we've worked on it over the last 4 months, and I would anticipate it to be good for the remaining time of my career, and obviously that he's involved with Oklahoma State football.
So if Boone is part of the big picture of Oklahoma State football, and he is, then it would seem that your program's healthier than it's ever been.
It is.
With this building, that building, and Boone is back in the fold.
It is very healthy. We have a very exciting young football team. We have great leadership. These guys are much better assistant coaches than I ever was. Our recruiting's going well. We have facilities, and I'm a lucky guy to be here. I'll be honest with you. And the mood, the temperament, the attitude of the team, and I shared with the team that these guys that we have are very thankful. But they don't understand what it was like here before Mr. Pickens was able to give this money. They just don't know. You have to be here. Paul Blair was here, who was a great player here at Oklahoma State, and he heard the quote and what I had said about the players or about the facilities, and he said they really don't understand because they weren't here when we were lifting weights in the dust. And so we're very thankful to have what he gave us, but it takes all of us pulling in the same direction. And what you said is right. I mean, it's a good time to be at Oklahoma State.
There are guys in there who played at better high school facilities than you played in college.
Sure. And those discussions took place 10 years ago, where we were recruiting players that had indoors and better facilities than what we had here, and it made it very difficult. And we've gotten over that hurdle.
Mike, back to the football. You mentioned the offense has had a pretty good day in there, and 2 different quarterbacks. And I know that you named Mason, but how much of a comfort zone is it for you and your staff to not only have Mason progressing, but the comfort of JW in there as well?
JW's had a really good spring, and Mason's our starter, and we named him our starter. The other day I was watching, and I thought, if we wouldn't have named him our starter and we're open practice, people think we had a quarterback battle going on. So that's good. It's very positive. But Mason has been terrific. He stayed level-headed. He understands what his role is, where he needs to develop. I mentioned earlier about caution in that he's only played 3 games. He's not the answer. He's got a long ways to go. But JW's been terrific. Just what we've said about him from the day that he walked on campus. I was giving his dad, Coach Walsh, a hard time. He was supposed to speak at our clinic a week ago, and he had an accident. He was somewhere and raised up and had cut his head open on a bar, sliced his head open, and so he couldn't make it to speak. And I told him that if that was JW, he would have shown up, and he would have just talked with blood running down his face. So ultimately, you got to remember what the end product is. So we're very fortunate to have those guys.
You had a fumble scoop in there too with Glenn. I know Glenn started that hashtag WTIB, we're taking it back, to emphasize fumble recoveries. I'm going to guess you probably won't go to game 12 before you recover a fumble next year.
Well, I hope not, or it won't be as fun. Or like last year wasn't as fun up until the end of the year. But college football is all about scoring points, big plays, and turnovers. there's just not many teams that control offenses based on defense anymore. And I think that we see that across the country. There's been coaches across the country that claim that they can control any offense, but as we've seen, some of the best defensive coaches in the country have a hard time controlling offenses in college football today based on the way they operate. So you got to get turnovers, you got to get the ball back in the offense's hands. Everybody good?
Cool.
All right, guys.